Hi everyone, I'm Andrew from Stampix. Welcome to Loyalty Expert Talks, where we talk to leaders all around the globe around loyalty and customer experience. And today it's a real pleasure to introduce Rachel Mercer. Many of you will know her from all of the events she speaks at, the podcast she's on, the webinars she's doing. You've also got the Loyalty Lounge Ladies group on LinkedIn, which I'm sadly not a part of, obviously.
I'm so sorry, Andrew.
Anytime, there has to be a cut-off somewhere. But obviously, your work with Benefit and the Benefit Loves program. So, Rachel, welcome to Loyalty Expert Talks. Thanks for joining me. How are you? How does the end of year at Benefit look? Stressful, or are we carefree?
Well, Benefit is just always joyous, and at Christmas you can imagine that just goes like through the roof. So we are like surrounded by lots of Christmas activity, so it's great.
All Christmas spirit.
Fun. Yeah, lots of Christmas spirit going on right now.
Oh, I love that. I work at home, so I can only be as festive as I can let myself be.
Hopefully I can bring some joy to you today.
I need it. You've got the glitter already. So
yes, and feathers.
Oh, I didn't even spot the feathers before. Excellent. I feel festive already.
There you go.
But we met each other back it was one of the loyalty summits. I think it was in Stockholm.
It was, yeah.
Was that March? Because it feels like it was about a decade ago.
I think it was March. Yeah.
Yeah. And you were on stage. I remember talking to you afterwards. But since then, you've done so many other speaking sessions and podcasts and everything in between. Just wondering, as the year draws to a close, if you've had a particular highlight, if there's been any sort of pinch me moments along the way.
Yeah, I mean, that was my pinch me moment, to be honest. I haven't actually spoken on a stage before, so it was quite an honor to be there. But I love going to all the events because it brings people like you into my life. And obviously, like you mentioned earlier, the Loyalty Ladies Lounge wouldn't have been even started. I would never have met Kirsty, and we wouldn't have been able to create such a space for people within our industry. So that's a highlight in itself. But I absolutely love going to events and talking to people and getting really excited about what I can see going on in the industry. So but I would say that moment in Stockholm was pretty much a pinch me moment. I never thought I would be doing that, so I was pretty happy about that moment in time. It happened early in the year as well, so pretty difficult to top. Yeah.
Start with a bang.
Start off with a bang, absolutely.
But you're a natural. You wouldn't believe it was your first time on the stage from where I was sitting.
Thank you so much.
And obviously it was lovely to meet you there and talk.
Yes.
But we're obviously here to talk about loyalty, but we're interested in your background because you've come from a kind of marketing retail background.
Yes.
So interested to just kind of learn a little bit more about your journey and your kind of evolution through to marketing. And then in particular, I think loyalty can sometimes get a little bit siloed and kind of sit as a real separate function to the general marketing or general brand teams. So just interested to see if some of your learnings that you've had along the way have shaped how you've approached loyalty when it comes to Benefit.
Yeah. So actually, my love of everything to do with customer engagement came from I did a college program with Disney World Florida between my second and third year of university. I was there for 12 weeks. And one of the things that Disney, what you are able to do as a cast member, you're called a cast member. As a cast member, just working in stores, I was just a retail assistant, essentially. You're called a cast member. Was you can create magical moments out of anything. So you can see a situation take place between people who are visiting the parks, and you can create a really magical moment around that. So really engaging one-on-one with people and tailoring the experience based on what you're seeing. And that's where I became hooked, because I was like, this is what I'm here for. I'm here to create joy. And so that was my kind of spark of this is what I want to do.
Yeah, this is something that excites you.
Yeah, it really, really made me happy. And I think that's the people pleaser in me for sure. And I love that I'm in a role which enables a really great part of that and can engage in that joyous part of life, which I think is important at all times, but especially right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
More of that, please.
Yeah, more of that. So that was really the start of things. And then obviously there was quite a lot of other experiences in between. I worked across the board. I've probably had more jobs than anyone has had in a lifetime. So I won't go into that, all of it, but a lot of it is retail. So a lot of places I worked in was retail. And my main sort of experience that led me to Benefit was I worked on the Spark scheme with M&S, but I worked on the experiences part, which was very much kind of intertwined with that joy giving space. So we were able to really offer amazing experiences for our top tier customers. Like we created a cinema club, we did wine tastings. We took like a group of people to learn a tap dance with the cast of 42nd Street, and we like created this experience. We filmed it all, and it was creating like really tangible moments for people, which was really special and kind of brought all of that to life again. And then from there, I kind of took those experiences and I've now been at Benefit Cosmetics for nearly 4 years. So what I came in to do was start to build the program out, and now we've launched. So I'm now part of the evolution of that and kind of keeping that going and evolving it as we evolve as a business.
Yeah, that's excellent. So, yeah, that kind of experiential VIP kind of treatment for customers, and also kind of extending the brand beyond, just the brand itself. It's actually kind of embedding in customers' lifestyles in different ways that kind of they're contextual, absolutely, but they're not necessarily the core what you would know Marks and Spencer's for in that example.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, great kind of trajectory, and I think you're the perfect person for what you've done with Benefit, which is great.
I feel very blessed, if I'm honest, that I've been able to kind of get in a position which does bring me fulfillment in that way, because I do feel like there is something that I drive that drives me to keep doing that. So yeah,
definitely. And what's pushing that? Is that more thinking of yourself as a consumer, or is it thinking about from the brand, from the top down? The consumer
I certainly think of it from a consumer perspective first. I think like a lot of what I see in loyalty, the things that I connect with are things that are personal to the customer and make you feel. I am like a marketer's dream, so I know for a fact like what is kind of like what makes me engaged in things and things like that. And I think like if I see something that brings emotional connection, that automatically has me engaged. I also think there's other elements to that, like creating a really easy kind of experience for people, and all of that also encompasses creating joy, because I mean, what could be better than giving someone time back? Like if you're alleviating a clunky experience by offering something that saves them time. So I think there are so many different pockets of joy that can be pulled out of loyalty as well.
Definitely agree. I think it's something that can sound very soft and fluffy, yet also something that does put some really big ticks in proper business boxes as well. Like you say, saving people time and effort. It's nice for the customer, but it also has a huge benefit and a knock-on effect for the actual brand itself.
Exactly.
Just realised I have to be very careful of how often I use the word benefit outside of the brand name context.
It is quite difficult.
Conversation keeps slipping out.
Yeah.
But there's definitely, I want to dig into the to Benefit Loves in a big way and kind of look into that. But a couple of rapid fire questions just to get you warmed up. You're within loyalty itself, like you say, you're leading this kind of the helm of the ship with Benefit, but you're also a customer, like you say. Have you got a standout or a favorite loyalty program that you interact with every day or just love what they're doing? And then also, if you're happy to name a shame, do you have a one that maybe misses the mark or you think there's room for improvement?
I think that I have two that come to mind from a really strong perspective. So I always talk about the Pizza Express app and their loyalty program, because I think what they do really well is it's very single-minded in terms of loyalty is is the company. So like what you're doing is you're communicating about the loyalty program constantly, and I think that's what's actually very difficult to do. But also their app is very engaging. Even on the onboarding process, it's all gamified, and it keeps you like engaged. And I think actually they collect the right amount of data. They don't ask too many questions, but they collect enough that it's important that they get to know you, which I really enjoy. And the other one would be H&M.
Perfect. Yeah.
So I think H&M have a really good channelless approach in that your experience is the same online and in store, which like for such a big company, I can't even imagine the work that has gone into
it's so
that.
hard to do.
But it's so connected. Like when you go into store, you're immediately asked about your H&M app, and they will bring up, you've got this reward here. Do you want to use it? And actually, like, it's very kind of connected, which is again very tricky to do. So I think that's those two are the ones that come to mind.
You don't have to name and shame the brand specifically if you don't want to.
I don't want to name and shame, but I think that what I'm seeing a lot of loyalty programs do is lean on members pricing a lot more. So it's becoming less emotional and more transactional. And I think that we need a little bit of both. And I think that we'll touch upon that later. But for me, loyalty has to be memorable to be impactful.
Couldn't agree more. Absolutely.
And a discount, you won't remember where that's come from. So I think there needs to be an element of both.
Yeah, and kind of a marrying of there's function, but then there's also a kind of feeling that needs to run in tandem. You can't really over prioritize one versus the other.
Yeah,
but certainly. I don't know if you agree, but it's easier now, I think, than ever to launch some sort of loyalty proposition as a brand, whether you're a tiny little independent or you're this big kind of global conglomerate.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to get something out, whether that's a real simple kind of just CRM play or whether it's a proper loyalty engine, loyalty program, which in some ways I think is really good. I think it puts loyalty on the map. I think it does increase focus on the function that it has within businesses. But similarly, from a consumer point of view, suddenly you sign up to 50 different brands that you've purchased from a handful of times at best. Do you think there's a kind of oversaturation point that we're approaching where, because of this kind of ease and this real kind of drive to have a loyalty program almost for the sake of it in some cases, it kind of reduces the impact of other brands' loyalty efforts?
I don't know. I'm definitely of the more the merrier kind of mindset, but I do think that there needs to be more thought in terms of if you're going to launch a loyalty program, why do you want to do that? I think that there is sometimes the idea that loyalty will fix something, and that's not what it's there to provide. It's there to provide what's best for the customer, and I think what for your customer as well, most importantly. So a loyalty program, it needs to be built based on that rather than based on something that is broken and you want to fix. It's about having the right goals in place and the KPIs to start with, and sort of working out what it is, what's the purpose of the loyalty program, what are you trying to fulfill, and if it makes sense that is kind of that loyalty, then putting those fundamentals in place, asking the questions to your customer first and foremost what they want, and building things around that.
I think it's a really interesting point. I think you've hit the nail on the head, really. I think it's about the customer as a person or a group of people, not numbers on a spreadsheet or doing something because brand X, Y, or Z that are somewhat comparable are also doing that similar thing. It's like you say, finding the purpose and the value from a brand's point of view, but also from that customer's point of view, and kind of fusing them nicely together. Which leads us nicely to talk about benefit loss, because I think you've done that perfectly.
Thank you.
Launched in 2023, if that's correct.
Yes.
Perfect.
So we're 2.5, we're like 2.5 years in, I think. Yeah. How
many members are you up to now?
So we're still very early in our growth, and actually we've grown very organically. We're at 60,000 members now. So
Awesome,
what
yeah.
I like to say to people is we're small, but we're mighty. We're growing. But we're still obviously very early days, and it's very exciting. We've got a lot more to do.
I think, like you said, that the slow and steady approach definitely has its, I'm going to say benefits again, because benefits, not brand benefits. But as you say, kind of getting to know the customers, and if you grew exponentially quickly, you'd probably be losing a lot of that visibility on what's actually working, what's driving behavioural change, what people are resonating with. So I think that slow and steady approach makes so much sense. And it's easy, I think, for a brand to go, get us 1 million members tomorrow. And you can do that with discounts and things like that. But does it make an engaged member? Probably not.
Exactly. And for us, our app is quite different in the sense that it's not shoppable. So it's a booking platform. It's also a loyalty space. It's a loyalty rewards app. So it's a shortcut to the website. So it's not a shoppable site. So what we need to do is bring the right people in, and we need to make sure that we're talking to the right people and engaging the people that actually do want to be part of the app. Because we could, like you say, we could grow, but we want the people that actually are going to engage with us and want to be part of something that we're providing, rather than just trying to appeal to everyone that we know isn't going to be interested.
So it's the long-term play that you're really
100%.
100%. I think it's so many brands, I think, do tend to get that ratio a little bit the other way around, it seems, when they launch programs. It's all about, look at us, we've got something brand new, it's so big, we've grown already, and you just go, well, you have, but what do you look like in 6 months' time?
I was always taught, like when I first got into loyalty, that was the whole point of loyalty, that it's a long-term play. You're looking at customer lifetime value, not the immediate effects, and that's 100% what I hold on to. So I kind of look at our scheme as a sense of, this is a long-term play. Okay, we don't see that right away. Let's have a look at this and see, and like reflect on this and in a few months and see if we're still seeing this. And I think that's also the difficulty with emotional rewards, is that it can't be managed through data. So it's looking at that long-term play from an emotional capability. Are they still coming back in a customer lifetime kind of value piece in that sense? Which
is inherently harder to measure, especially if you're looking for instant results. You can't really say, other than common sense says that this should happen. But I think it's a great program. I think what's really clear to me with it is the brand values come through. So it's fun, it's playful. You have, obviously, there's the reward for regularity, which I think is always going to be important for any loyalty program. But I love that how you're even trying to translate it points into hearts, because it takes something really transactional and turns it into, it's almost like a little thank you from the brand every time you spend something, which I think doesn't change the function at all, but it does change how you perceive it as a customer. And it sounds like that was kind of that general feeling, like we were talking before, the sort of brand love, the emotional side of things. It sounds like that was probably a bit of a non-negotiable when it came to building this program out.
Yeah, I mean, we always say that we wanted it to feel like hearts coming out of your screen. So every time you kind of went into it, you felt that that's how it was. It was really important to us that the app functioned in a really easy way. It was very easy to understand. Also, the tiers and currency were very easy to understand. What we didn't want to do was overcomplicate things for a customer. You know, I always think, from my perspective, because we are an app is a very kind of personal thing to have on your phone. So we also have to respect the customer in the sense that we're taking up their space on their phone as well. So for me, I kind of hold that in my head as well. And I'm thinking, okay, why would someone keep this on their phone? And how do I get them to keep it on their phone? And value that as well, because there's a respect level on both sides. So for us, it was really important to build those flourishes in. So we have like content on there that kind of takes you behind the scenes, and we're rewarding you for engaging, and all of those things was were very important, and for it not to be totally transactional, and that we were rewarding for your engagement as well as your shopping behavior.
Yeah, so the combination of the two, it's rewarding the behavior in one way, rewarding the transactional side of things in a different way, but bringing them together.
Yeah,
which is easier said than done, I imagine. Is it? Was that built from trial and error, lots of experiments, surveying, and kind of getting feedback and things like that?
Yeah. And we're always evolving. Our rewards kind of are always evolving in terms of like what we think people are engaging with and what they aren't. So we've built rewards since launch. So we built a beauty panel out, which is we send a group of people fun-sized products every month, which they get just for being here. And so it's kind of like a nice kind of reward in terms of just being like, thank you for being here. We value you. And it's creating a community at the same time. So we do a load of test and learns. That was one that actually really worked very well. But there are things that you think are going to work well and they don't. So it's being, I think also from a technical space, from a tech place, you have to be constantly evolving because that world is moving so quickly. We have not been able to really sit still with what we have. We are constantly trying to make sure we're keeping up with what the customer needs in the sense of from a brand perspective, but also from a technological perspective as well.
Yeah, and I was going to ask if you have any buzzwords later on, but AI, is that something that's now also playing a part in what you're
that was going to be
fighting
buzzword.
with? Oh no, I've jumped ahead.
That's okay. AI definitely has its place, I think. I mean, you know, you can't get away from AI, and I don't think you should. I think it's a very important part of creating a tailored customer journey. It enables us to be able to switch things on a lot quicker than you would manually, and I think that's really important from a like what a customer needs perspective. But I also don't think you can get away from the human interaction of asking what they want as well.
Yeah, and actually, getting to know them
yes.
on as an individual basis as possible, and still having, like you say, that human element that sits on top of it.
Exactly.
But I think it comes through the program. It's a phrase I picked up a few months ago is kind of humanized loyalty. So bringing brands to life and actually kind of giving them personality and getting to know each other. Like you said, the value exchange between brand and consumer it's often really overlooked in favor of transactions or kind of traditional players. You said though you did some trial and error and there were some bits that didn't work. Is there an example of anything that you thought was going to take off that for some whatever reason just didn't hit the mark?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes discounts don't work so well. I mean, I think that's the thing, and we'll probably come on to it later as well, is that discounts can be found everywhere.
Yeah.
So what we have seen is that sometimes limited time discounts don't work so well on loyalty because, again, we're doing that long-term play. So it was very surprising to us, I think, at the time, because we thought, oh, well, this is going to be something that somebody engages with really well. But actually what our customers are telling us is that they want that added value of the extra thing with their
yes, yeah,
which is something they're not going to get somewhere else. You know, limited edition merchandise or products that we are offering them as an extra for just shopping with us and being a member. So those are the things that we're seeing people engage with more than a discount in that sense.
Yeah. And do you think that's true specifically for your customers, or do you think that's true in a more general sense, especially looking at kind of different age demographics and things? So Gen Z, I think, have a very different sense of what motivates them to someone who's a millennial like me, for example. I might be more swayed by a discount, whereas someone who's Gen Z is more swayed by like that VIP feeling, that experience, something that's a bit more tangible than just a bit of a money off discount.
Yeah. I think honestly, it's asking your customer what they want as well. Like I think absolutely, like people are individuals, so they shop entirely differently. I think the difficulty with discounts is that I'm sure that for multiple businesses, things can be found cheaper elsewhere.
Yeah.
So if you're savvy, and I think as millennials, we are very savvy, and
voucher codes,
exactly, immediate voucher codes. We're ultimately always looking for the best price, and so I think we knew that we wouldn't and we didn't want to compete with that because it also takes away the value of the brand.
100%, yeah.
What we wanted to do was stay true to that too. And I think that is a difficulty in the landscape that we're in. People are looking for the best deal, and it's not that they shouldn't be, but how do we add that value to it as well? So it's kind of a mixture of the two. It's
not necessarily a direct, the deal has to be good as in the best price. It could be the deal is good because the package I'm buying into gives me this product, this experience, this feeling, which is a very different way of looking at that sort of proposition. I don't know if there's any ways you weave that in to the program now. I don't know if you've got any sort of standout examples of what your customers really love.
So we do regular kind of zero data quizzes where we ask our customers like what they want to see in the future and also what they're enjoying about the program. And what we tend to have always come back is that they like the merchandise that you can't buy. It's things that we offer, press and our kind of influencer things, and so it's completely exclusive. And I think that kind of thing, if you're a benefit lover, that will stay with you. And I think like those things are what people enjoy. I mean, I have been at Benefit for 4 years and I love merch. Like literally anytime I can get like a free makeup bag or a jumper, I'm in it, I'm doing it. So I just love, and because I think if you love Benefit as a brand, that's the kind of thing you do engage with as well.
Yeah, that's what you're looking for as a customer.
Yeah.
But it would have been so easy for someone that wasn't you to have come in and tried to build this and completely miss that sort of mark. And get it completely
I didn't think of it that way. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just giving credit where credit's due.
I appreciate that, Andrew. I'm here for it.
Anytime. But we were talking about joy and sort of joyalty earlier on. I know you've spoken about it in other places as well. Again, is that something that you think is particularly important for Benefit, or really on a broader sense, do you think that brands should be introducing this kind of joyous kind of feeling into the process?
Yeah, look, I love joy, and I think that it should be injected into everything. I think, and to be honest, that could be just like in Sainsbury's on Nectar, I get, an offer on a product I actually buy. And so that is joy in itself. Oh my gosh, I get that money off something that actually is beneficial to me rather than trying to get a product that I don't buy. And that has its uses as well. But I think from a joy perspective, having that extra kind of bit where it's like, oh, great, I don't have to pay for that today, and those little things that contribute to just making someone's day is enough to inject joy. So it can be tiny little things like that. To then, inviting them to a big influencer event and something that's completely closed off to limited people, that also is joy. But there is elements of joy that can be brought in different things.
Loads of different definitions of how it can work, loads of different needles that's then going to move internally. And then, like you say, every customer is, again, slightly different. So what does motivate one doesn't necessarily motivate another, but it doesn't mean it's a bad idea for the second audience.
Exactly.
Which is great. And do you think a lot of that comes down to as well kind of personalization and knowing the customer again, like we were talking about before? You absolutely need the data in there to be able to personalize that. And I think there is a starting point to that, where do you just do A/B testing and kind of try different things. But I think from a personalization perspective, that's really how you can connect with the customer, because you're showing people what they want to see rather than what you want them to see. And I think that's that value added piece. The kind of show me, you know me kind of mentality.
Yes.
I think we're so used to it. We grow up with algorithms. The internet is feeding us exactly what we want to see all the time.
100%.
Music's the same, films are the same, everything's recommended to you based on you as an individual. And I think you're right. If brands are missing that mark, there's a base level of expectation now with the consumer that if you're not getting some sense of personalization, knowing that you've given enough data over to have made a bit of a tailored experience, it just leaves a bit of a disappointment sense in the customer's mouth, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've heard people talk about Amazon and the fact that they always get recommended really random things on their homepage, and they're like, what? Like, what does that even have to do with me? But that's what stays with them, because obviously Amazon creates an experience in that. Probably the main reason people shop there is so that they can get their order as quickly as possible. That's like their USP, right? So, but it's not that they probably aren't going there and browsing like your recommendations because it's not accurate. So the way to kind of build out that personalization is the more you get to know them, the more you can show them that are important to them, and they engage with you more. That's kind of just the logic of it in that sense, or at least how I kind of look at it.
No, I think you're right. I think, like you said before as well, there's a balance. It's knowing what you need to know and not being overly evasive just for the sake of it.
100%. And that is what's really difficult as well. I think it's asking the question yourself of what do we want to know and why?
Yes,
exactly. Why? So what is it beneficial to both of us? Is it beneficial to the customer that we know that, as well as us from a data perspective? Or is this just beneficial for us as a business just to know these things? And I think it's looking at that and whether that actually sits in loyalty or in another space, because I think it's also differentiating between, so many channels there are in which like touch points are for customers. So loyalty should be rewarding those behaviors. So it's like asking all those questions is very important before kind of making decisions.
It's a question I meant to ask you earlier on, actually, but you just reminded me of it. It's like you just said there, loyalty, it can sometimes fit into different spaces. There's kind of different outcomes that might be attributed to a slightly different business function. When it comes to benefit and loyalty, what does it mean to you? If you could sum it up in the most concise way possible, what is loyalty?
What is loyalty? It's everything. I mean, loyalty is everything. I mean, I will say that because I'm very passionate about what I do, but I think that loyalty can benefit every area because you're finding out as much as you can about the customer, and the more you do that, the more you get that value back. But for us, it's we were called earlier a pocket rocket, and I just like that has stayed with me because like I said, we're small but mighty, and we are effective. And I think like the thing for us is to stay true. What we are more than anything is the benefit brand DNA. And so we are benefit in your pocket, and we're the only part of the business that can do that. And so that is what I think loyalty means to benefit.
I think that's a really good answer. And I think benefit in your pocket is a really nice way of summarising that. I really love that. Yeah. And so how do you have then, I'm guessing, sort of separate brand teams as well? So there's kind of an overall value proposition that kind of everyone is speaking to. And is it quite a top-down view that has kind of come through from benefit? So everyone's on the same page, whether it's loyalty specifically, whether it's finance, whether it's the branding team, everyone's beating the same drum and working towards the same goal. Is that how it all works for you?
Yeah, absolutely. We all want to show the brand in the best possible way we can. I think with loyalty, it's very difficult because you've got so many different elements that it feeds into. It's making sure that you've got all those touch points built in, and if you're launching a loyalty program, having those touch points very early on, understanding all of the different elements that could feed into loyalty and what you can feed into as well. So I think, in terms, from a business perspective, there's loads of different departments that we kind of work with. We're probably one of the only areas that feeds into a lot of the business.
All of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like there's touch points across it all. So it's a pretty exciting place to be, really. Like you kind of learn a lot from a customer angle.
Definitely, and I think that there's so many brands where it's a bit more fragmented, and loyalty is like you said before, it's maybe added in to plug a hole that's been popped up somewhere else, and you're trying to fix something without really understanding what the purpose is. So I think it's really refreshing to have this really holistic company-wide view, everyone kind of sharing the same belief, and it does sound like a pretty special environment to be working in. Is it giving you all the flexibility you need to then also kind of experiment and the trust you have built up over time to say, this is what we should be doing, this doesn't work, but this does, for example?
Yeah, so I mean, as a functionality, we are very lucky in that we can be really agile and test and learn and A/B test, and like that comes with resilience. You do have to be resilient, and I think we'll come on to that in a bit. But for me, like in terms of a brand, we all sit with our mission statement, which is to create a beauty community for all dedicated to doing good and feeling good. And we all kind of contribute to that. And we take that very seriously. And from a loyalty perspective, that mission statement was what we built it around. So like we're able to test and learn based on that, because if we see that it's not feeding into that mission statement, we kind of move away from it and we try something else.
Yeah, so it needs to support that kind of foundational pillar, and if it doesn't, maybe it's not the best idea or the best fit for benefit specifically, and say wouldn't be a good idea for another brand, but for you and your customers. Exactly.
And I do think that's the same across loyalty in general. One size doesn't fit all. Ultimately discounting heavy loyalty scheme may work for some businesses, like supermarkets, for example. Loyalty is very tricky because a lot of people shop based on their location and what their nearest supermarket is. So when you're driving revenue through like regular shoppers, through members pricing, makes sense. But for us, it's important to keep hold of that like emotional value as well.
And on that point then, it's obviously discounts, things like that are numbers on a spreadsheet that you can measure, and if you're the CFO looking at that on a screen and you're seeing green numbers, great. If you're seeing red numbers, bad. But how do you kind of balance that joyous, emotional, while also kind of transactional, functional spaces all together? Because that's much easier said than done. And I don't know what that challenges that's created when you're justifying kind of ideas and things like that.
So for me, it was really part of the conversation is having conversations early on about the long-term value of loyalty. For us, we look at that as a whole. So if things don't work, we obviously do test and learns, but we're lucky to be agile and kind of look at the results. I think it's really important to be very honest and upfront about what the data's showing and kind of tell the story based on what present your findings, but also what you think it means. Because data is just numbers, but if you put context around it, like what that could be driven by, how it could be driven in a better way, how can we get more support? I think that's also important to look at. But I think having that open communication around it, and also talking to what loyalty means, what is because I think like the difficulty is a lot of the time is that people want instant results, and with loyalty that isn't the case. As far as what I understand loyalty to be, it's that long-term play, as we've I've been talking about for the last 40 or so minutes. But it's not about that instant gratification necessarily. It's about how we're seeing customers' behavior potentially change. They're shopping more frequently, they're booking more frequently. So I have conversations like that and talk about how it needs to be part of the business as a whole and the growth plan, and how we plan on kind of building that retention through loyalty.
And I guess that's where the resilience comes in. It's sticking to your guns and going, we can build it a different way if you want us to, but you're not going to get the results down the line that this is going to be delivering.
And, you know, when you see things that are kind of affecting the way that your scheme might be working and things like that, it's also being proactive in the sense of being like, okay, that might be what's driving that behavior. How do we kind of look at it? It's being on top of what you're seeing as well. So it's like, okay, that doesn't seem to be working the way that I thought it was going to, which is really hard because sometimes you have to be really in the weeds of it as well as looking at the strategy. But it's really important to be able to build out a strong strategy that you are kind of in the day-to-day understanding what is happening, what the data is showing you, and then being able to have conversations with stakeholders to be like, look, we're seeing this. I think, you know, we need to do X, Y, Z to get to the growth we need to get to. And this is how I think we're going to get there.
So yeah, staying on top of everything from a very top-down view, and then also being right in it every day. Which...
that sounds impossible.
Is there enough hours in the day to do this?
but I think, like, from my perspective, that's how we've always worked. So like, I'm so used to being in the data and understanding it from that perspective of like what I'm seeing from a customer's behavior, that we've built a loyalty scheme around that. I think that starting off with really strong data in the first place is a place where you have to come from to be strong in how you're going to present that to a CFO or a stakeholder behind.
Data and the strategy combined to say, not only do I think this, but
this is the data, but this is how I think we can progress. Yeah,
excellent.
Yeah.
And the last thing I was going to touch on is, as I know you do things like, there's welcome gifts, there's birthday gifts and things like that, which you kind of, I guess, punctuate. They're slightly less personal in one sense, in that they've got kind of broad appeal, but it's still very specific to the individual. Each moment that comes, your welcome moment, your birthday, they're special days for you as a customer. And again, is there other things in the calendar that you do that I've missed, or are they kind of the big ones? And how important do you think that is in kind of an annual cycle of events?
I think that recognizing these moments are really important. I actually think there's many more moments that if you were really personalized and you got the right data, you could reward. Something I love is half birthdays. I think that's really cute. Sephora do a half birthday, which I think is a really nice way of engaging and bringing even more joy to your program. But also, like, if you know that certain events are coming up for people based on how they're behaving with you, I think that any moment that you can build in a space where you're visibly recognizing them and you're like, I understand that this is where you are. It is like value in itself. Like, it's, you know, it's such a rewarding thing to feel, I think. So I think all of those moments are really important.
And you
anniversaries.
You do gifts as well, don't you? It's not your standard, here's another 10% off. I know it's your birthday, but why don't you spend some money with us? It's no, this is your day. Here's something from us to you to show thanks, celebration, everything. Which
I think is also a really interesting point about loyalty, because what I believe is that you're rewarding people's behavior with how they've already behaved with you. So having like a minimum spend is really tricky, because I think in some ways you just want to be able to give that to them, to say like thank you. And there are little elements, like we did a couple of months ago, we did like a free coffee. Just like as I think we did it on National BFF Day, and we did like a kind of voucher that they could use on Starbucks, Costa, Nero, or any kind of coffee retailer. And I loved to do that because I thought that's actually something that we can build into somebody's day. That means they don't have to pay for that coffee. And that felt really special because I know how much money I spend on coffee. And I was like, imagine not having to pay for my coffee today. And that felt like joyous to me. But
it's that little moment where it's
those
just
little moments.
Your day's been genuinely lifted. It's not just I don't feel like a number. I feel like I've been seen, I've been delighted in a very certain way that I'm going to actually really respond well to.
And it's recognizing them beyond your brand. So for example, that coffee is not related to benefit. I mean, we hope that that's what they think about when they remember it, but it's not, we're not giving them a benefit product. It's something that's adding value in a different way.
Yeah, it's that kind of lifestyle thing. So inserting the brand, even in an indirect way, into a bigger space in someone's life. Really, really important. No, that's been. I just wanted to ask you a couple of rapid fire questions. I think we've actually covered some of them. Is there a brand or a program that you would love to work for, and any ideas that you'd want to shout out and pitch into the ether right now?
Oh my gosh. So I would say that Pret used to have a really great part of their program, which they would like create these joyous moments. People are going to get so sick of me talking about this, but
we say the word joy all the time, so
I'm literally just saying,
you're beating our drum.
Yeah, we should just be saying joy all the time, but they would be challenged. I believe like the CEO challenged them to give away, like each store to give away like a coffee to somebody who they think like deserved it and things. I would bring it back, because I just think that is such a lovely thing to do. And I do believe that you would remember that. And I think that would have you coming back. And that is an emotional moment. And I think like, if I could, I'd bring that back. So it's not necessarily an idea because it already existed, but I think just like, I would love to see that again.
If it could return or evolve even in some different ways. No, I love that. I remember that as well. It's again one of those things that's so indirect to the customer, but it has such a direct impact. It's hard to kind of put that into words or put that into a strategy. But I think we both know what we're saying. Yeah,
and I think also it's something that you would know about even if you weren't in the loyalty space. I'm sure customers remember that, which is another thing in itself. It's got that snowball effect. And that's really how you get traction, isn't it? That's how you get new customers as well, because you need them to be talking about things that they're remembering, and that's something that you wouldn't forget.
Oh yeah, it's that kind of organic advocacy that comes with, it's like peer-reviewed loyalty, so it just naturally comes back to the brand. It's super powerful.
It's not like, oh, I bought 10 coffees today, I bought 10 coffees so I get a free coffee. It's, guys, I actually got a free coffee today and I don't even know why.
But I'm going to tell everyone about it.
But I'm going to tell everyone about it. Like, it was amazing. It made my day.
I mean, it would make my day.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you remember the first loyalty program you ever joined?
I think it was the Boots Advantage card. I do think that was probably it does feel like that would have been the first loyalty scheme I joined.
It's been around forever.
It's been around a long time.
It's either that or Tesco.
When there was like the paper and you took the card and like you went home and you registered the card. That's what I remember from the
investing physical time
literally
and effort.
taking away, doing it at home. Exactly.
Maybe bring that back. It's a lot of investment. It's a lot of dwell time with a brand.
Yeah.
You've got something in the house that's branded.
Exactly.
My final question for you is what's next for Benefit? What's on the roadmap for 2026? If you're allowed to say
so much
exciting.
We have so many exciting things coming next year, and I think also staying true to like what we've spoken about here is that so many more like in-person experiences and events, which is really exciting. I think after during COVID, that kind of took a backseat for everyone, and I'm really seeing it take a surge now, building that community within the brand, which I love to see. So we will be doing more of that. Yes, lots of exciting stuff. So stay tuned.
Excellent. And I'll no doubt bump into you somewhere in some country, in some conference centre somewhere.
I hope so.
And we can do all this again in person.
I'd love that.
But no, it's been great. Thank you so much for joining me. And just want to take the chance, as it's the end of the year, to say Happy Christmas, Happy New Year, and best of luck for 2026.
Thank you so much for having me, and
Thank you.
And a Happy New Year.
Thanks, Rachel.
See you soon.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.